My name is Umi Wagner. I'm co-owner and creative director of ETC and etc. ETC Tacoma is the store, etc. is the brand.
Okay.
Paris Wright, the other half of ETC and ETC Tacoma, co-creative director. That's it.
Originally, I want to say it was supposed to be the name of a shop that stocked t-shirts only, and like was supposed to be along the lines of like I don't know, you like walk into like a surplus, like a t-shirt surplus, you know what I mean? But what we were gonna do with that idea was like integrate in streetwear. So it's gonna like you walk in, you can get like Pro Club, but you can get Hanes, but you can get like a Gildan blank, but you can get like a Stafford t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? But then at the same time you could turn around and get graphic t-shirts, and the graphic t-shirts would be like small limited edition companies that were either local or, you know, just have like a good following or like a good meaning behind them present sort of thing. But over time it turned into the fact that we wanted to have some type of like store brand, and we've had brands in the past, and when we were coming up with names and that sort of thing, ETC was the one that stuck out because it kind of applies to everything that we want to do with ETC Tacoma. Accessories and t-shirts, you know. Accessories being the etc. and ETC meaning that, like, you know, literally it's like a literal thing. Like the T is such a prominent part of ETC that, you know, it's like, you know, it represents Tacoma, it represents t-shirts, it represents like what we want to do with as far as our corner of the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Now, how is it making the transition from just having a brand now to having the shop?
It's a lot. Originally we were just dealing with like online sales only, so there wasn't really any set guidelines for what we needed to do as far as like, you know, production and making sure we had everything in the right order to, you know, to get to the masses. But once we opened a shop, you know, that's our livelihood now. You know, we don't sell t-shirts, we don't eat, so it's like everything has to be scheduled the right way, and we got to make sure, you know, when we're buying shirts from other brands, we make sure we buy enough so we don't run out, and we produce our stuff because we have a pretty decent following now. So people come in there and they buy our stuff, and if we don't make enough and we sell out, it's like, yeah, that's tight because that's part of the culture. And you know, when you sell out of stuff, people come in and ask, and it's like, nope, we don't got it no more. But then on the other hand, once we sell out, we don't make any more money. You know, so there had to be some type of balance, and you know, we're still adjusting. Every day is a learning experience. So that's kind of, you know, the biggest issue is just trying to find that happy medium of, you know, staying true to the culture but making sure that the shop makes enough money to keep the wheels rolling. Yeah, I got it. So I guess the formidable years wouldn't have been ETC, because this is the third brand that we've had. So the first brand was Versu, which is Aquarius in French, and we're both, you know. And then the second brand was Flawed to Perfection. Well, let me go back. The first brand was when we were in high school. The second brand was when we were in college, and this brand is once, you know, we've gotten to like the real world. So those two brands kind of set the blueprint for what we wanted to do. We've never, like, at the point that we're at right now, we've kind of like figured out exactly what we wanted to do with our brand, and like everything looks how we want it to look now. If we were to go back and look at that other stuff there now, it would be like, you know, it's like, why are we even doing this? Yeah. You know, just because like the graphics and stuff, they weren't tight like that. They were cool for the time and like what we could do with him being down in Cali and me being up here going to school, but other than that, it was like, you know, it was just whatever. But now we've kind of, you know, gone down the right path, and we've figured out everything. So now everything that we release, it's like, this is exactly what we want it to look like. This is how we want to present it to people. And, you know, that's kind of how we were able to grow, you know, ETC in like a year into a shop. Right. So, but even when we had Versu, we knew that we wanted to open a store, but, you know, we didn't have the capital for it or anything like that. We knew we wanted to go to college, so it was kind of like on the back burner. But just having both of those brands prior to ETC just helped us build up to to what we.
This is the bumps in the road,
right
pretty much.
Yeah, definitely bumps in the road as far as like production and getting T-shirts that were just like super bogus that we didn't even want to sell. So it's like
right.
There's like still like boxes of shirts places that never will see the light of day because they were that weak. So, but yeah, it was just like a long road. I wouldn't even say it's a long road because it happened when it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big part of it is like the fact that you just don't stop. So the biggest part of like why we're even here is because we just didn't stop with the brand. We've had other brands before. We've had brands together since we were 16, 17. So you just don't stop, and eventually it catches fire. But once you do get something, it's about consistency. And so we have something with ETC and ETC Tacoma, and it's all about consistency. And a big part of it is like culture was what we wanted to bring. As much as we wanted to bring T-shirts and that sort of thing, it was all about finding like a culture, and we know what that culture that we wanted to be. We wanted to be art influenced, we wanted to be youthful, and we wanted to be local, but we want to be able to drag in outsiders and it be like an okay medium, like a common ground at the end of the day, as far as Washington in general, because the brand is a Washington brand. We're just based out of Tacoma. So
I think the 64 is like the more universal, like old school game. There's always like the Sega. It was either going to be a Sega or a 64, but at the end of the day, like Mario Kart and like GoldenEye and Smash Bros, which we're still working on getting. I don't know why we don't have it, but those three games like everybody plays. When I was growing up, I didn't have a 64, but I played those games. So we could have got like I said, like a Sega, and maybe got like NBA Jam or like Street Fighter, something like that. But you want to get a game that's like anybody can walk in and they'll have fun playing it. There's people who don't like playing Street Fighter, or they don't want to play a basketball game. But there hasn't really been anybody who's come in and been like, oh, I don't like Mario Kart. You can sit down, and even if you're weak, you'll have fun at it. So it's just like, and that's just, people just come back and play that. There's some people who just come in to play, they come in and it's like, hey, let's get on Mario Kart. And we're like, hell yeah. So that was just, we figured it was going to be one of those systems, and when we thought about it, it was like, let's get a 64 because everybody fucks with 64.
Okay.